If this goes on, don't panic. Bringing hope to the world through speculative fiction.
Hello and welcome to If This Goes On, Don't Panic. Today we have a guest co-host, a friend of the podcast, voiceover artist, serial entrepreneur, longtime science fiction fantasy fan, and the first voice you hear in every single episode of this podcast, Dave Robison.
That's right. I had forgotten that I had done the voiceover for the intro on this. Oh my God.
That's
that
right.
was a long time ago.
It was. It was. And today, Dave and I are going to be grilling Cat Rambo as only we can.
Gird yourself. Here it comes.
Get out the bright light, Dave.
That's right.
Gotta shine that in her eyes.
Where were you on the night of January 12th, 1975?
I have no clue.
Neither do I. But rumor has it we're going to be talking about a book.
That's right. That's right.
Indeed.
Before we go there, though, how's everybody doing and what are you all up to?
I just got back from the Surrey International Writers Conference up in Surrey, British Columbia, which was awesome. And I have 3 days to prepare to go off for a month because I'm about to go to New Mexico for the Wayward Wormhole workshop.
The Wayward Wormhole workshop. Yeah. Do tell.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have to talk about that, Dave, because last year was in a castle in Spain. It was very exciting.
That sounds awesome.
Yes. Yes, it does sound awesome. And I am jealous. That is for certain. That's for certain.
And Kat, I got to say, I've been following your Discord channel with great interest. There is so much going on over there.
Oh my
I'm a
God,
lurker.
yes.
I'm a lurker. Obviously, this is my professional pastime now, is to lurk at all of the social media things I used to actively engage in. But it's astonishing the stuff you're pulling over there. It's wonderful.
That makes me happy that you're following along because it's just such a lovely little community and it's growing, kind of growing at a nice rate, not exploding or anything like that. And
And growing not just in size, but in capabilities too. The creativity that you're fostering through those channels is really just kind of inspiring.
Oh, and they are doing amazing stuff. It is so cool to watch. Yes.
Spoken like a true educator.
Yes. The next generation of writers are going to be the Cat Rambo generation.
Yay.
That's right.
I hope so. Well, I mean, they can come from many backgrounds, but I have a special love for the ones that come through the Wayward Academy.
It's awesome.
Excellent.
No, you really do. It's every time I log in there's all kinds of stuff going on, and it's not just learners either. There's, pro writers and pro editors and all kinds of people in there. So
Yeah, it's a really nice mix.
Yeah, no, and you did a good job with that. I tried for like 3 months and was like, oh God, this is too hard. I can't do it.
Well, I think part of the trick is you get a couple of people who are good, people who like to organize things, and you get them to be moderators. And that's the trick with any endeavor. Really, is to form a team rather than do it by yourself. I think.
Oh yeah.
And then delegate like a mad fiend.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say I've had run-ins with at least one of your moderators where they informed me I was not putting the correct content in the correct channel and was redirected.
Well, and they're trying to be nice when they do that, and they mean it, but it sort of comes, I don't think they understand it comes with a layer of, I'm correcting you sometimes, but yeah.
It was totally fine.
That's why it's orderly.
It was totally fine. I just thought it was funny. I was like,
It-
oh,
it
okay.
is.
You're going to make me go over here now. Okay.
Put
That's
that
fine.
over
Whatever.
there, Alan. It doesn't go there, Alan. It goes over there. Come on, man.
It's like, would you put a spatula in the cutlery drawer? No.
Oh,
I would.
spoken like a true foodie at that point.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
here we go. all the Rambo-isms are being put on the table right now.
Oh, yeah.
Would
Yeah,
you put a
okay.
spatula in the cutlery
No, I'm
drawer,
just
Alan?
so
Oh my God.
horrified that Alan answered yes to that. Oh my
Look, I'm not known for my organization or my respective rules, okay? I'm sorry.
right.
I'm just not.
Alan
Fair
is an
enough.
improv. He's an improv in play right
Oh.
now. So,
Every
open the
drawer is
you don't know
one
what you'll
written book.
find. You'll pot holders, plastic wrap, who knows?
Well, I will say I have been trained. I have been domesticated, and so I
Uh-oh.
would not, at this point, do that.
Oh.
But if you had caught me in the wild, in my wild 20s,
Ah.
and even maybe early 30s, it would have been like
It
that.
would have been like that.
The domesticated Alan knows
That's
better.
it. That's
Good,
Yes.
good.
Yes, I have learned. I have learned. Believe it or not. So I feel like we should just jump in. Let me read everyone's bios first, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me read bio. So I'm gonna do Dave's bio first because our listeners probably don't know Dave as well as Cat. But I want to read Cat. I want to read yours too because I think sometimes people probably forget how esteemed and accomplished you are. So
Well, and you should remind them that if they listen to this podcast regularly, they do hear Dave's voice
That's right.
every single time.
That's right.
that is right at the beginning of every episode. Dave Robison has been exploring stories and storytelling for most of his life. An avid gamer, armed with a theater degree and a flair for the dramatic, Dave launched the Roundtable podcast in 2012, brainstorming story ideas with authors. He built the Archivos online storytelling tool, which helps storytellers visualize the elements of their story worlds. Now living in Portland, Oregon, he continues to revel in the stories of the world. So let me just say real quick, Dave, thanks for agreeing to do this. I always love having a conversation with you. I always have fun, and you always have interesting things to say.
Yeah.
And for that very reason, I thank you. I've always enjoyed our conversations with you, me, and Kat, and being back in the potosphere together feels like home,
Yeah.
and I like it.
Yeah. When's the next podcast? When are you starting a new podcast, Dave?
Oh, dude, I don't even. I have had, oh God, creative ADHD. It's like I have had like 5 ideas for podcasts in the last, 6-8 months, and it's like I could do this, we could do that, could do the other, and it's just pick one, dude. Just pick one.
Yeah.
And that's become very hard for me to pick
Yeah.
one. Something about age and time, and it's like wanting to maximize the value of everything that I'm doing, and what that's led to is kind of a creative paralysis.
Oh,
Honestly,
yeah.
oh my God, we're getting into therapy. We don't need to do that right now.
No worries. No worries. My literal ADHD definitely led to that when I was younger, so I 100% get it.
You get
I 100%
you
get it.
get me.
And then, of course, we have the wonderful and amazing Cat Rambo.
Yeah.
She has 300 plus fiction publications, including stories in Asimov's Clark's World magazine and the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. In 2020, they won the Nebula Award for fantasy novelette Carpe Glitter. They are a former 2-term president of the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America, also known as SIFWA. Their most recent works are space opera Devil's Gun through Tor McMillan and anthology The Reinvented Detective through Arc Manor, co-edited with Jennifer Brozick. For more about Kat, as well as links to fiction and her popular online school, the Rambo Academy for Wayward Writers, see their website. They are represented by Seth Fishman of the Gernert Agency.
That is me.
Boom.
Yes.
That is you.
Amazing Cat Rambo.
But the most recent work is actually, rumor has it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I want you to know, I took this from your website, Kat, so you need to update your website.
I know. I need to. Did you see how nice the new website is?
I did. It is super nice.
I need to tweak it though a little bit, but the woman who did it was just amazing, and I highly recommend her. And you can find her contact information kind of down at the bottom there, and she is super, super good.
Very cool.
Yeah, I looked her up for the podcast website, and we just do not have the cash for that right now. She did a fantastic job on yours, and
yeah.
I don't usually ask for money until the end, but hey, if everybody wants to send us money so we can afford
for a
website
redesign, there you go.
That's right.
That would be nice.
I hear a Kickstarter in your future.
Yeah, we could do some sort of campaign.
Yeah, maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See, I don't know.
I do have one thing of recent note that I should put on the table. I recently finished an audiobook for Todd Kiesling's Cold, Black, and Infinite horror anthology.
Ooh.
And that's up on audible.com even as we speak. And that was a blast.
Oh, awesome.
Todd's narrative voice and my performing voice align beautifully.
Nice.
And it was a genuine pleasure. And God, he has such a deft hand with chilling horror and intimate horror and cosmic horror. He's got all the facets of the horror mosaic down, and it was a blast. Highly recommended. Not that I'm not biased in any way, shape, or form, but it's a really cool collection of sterling horror that I'm very proud of. It's some of my best work.
Awesome. I'll have to check that out. Wait, I recognize his name from somewhere. What else has he written?
Devil's Creek. He's been a Stoker Award nominee a couple years running now. He did Midnight in the Southland, which was a pseudopod story, which is how this whole thing started. Midnight in the Southland is one of the stories in the anthology, and that sort of me narrating that on pseudopod led to Todd and I talking and getting on board with doing the whole audiobook.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely check that out.
Do it.
I will. So last time we chatted with Cat, Dave, we had a conversation about how we imagined Cat's books in our head. Do you remember that?
I do. I absolutely do.
We both said animation. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I recall saying that I imagined it as kind of like a Simpsons kind of vibe, right?
I remember that.
So, my question is, do you feel the same way about it now, having read 3 books in the series?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. But I don't see the Simpsons. It's much more of have you seen Arcane?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything that Cat does has that wonderful combination of depth and shadow in the background, but those bright primary flashes of color in the foreground, and everything being not polished. It's not so polished, but it's crisp. It's articulately drawn. That's the way I want to put it.
Yeah, I mean, the way you describe that is perfect. That's exactly how it is too. You know, and Kat, you know, you've got the shadowy characters in the background, but you've got like this very fun and lovable cast, albeit problematic, of course. But they're just a lot of really cool characters in there, right?
Oh, I love these characters.
Clearly.
These are of all the stuff I've written, they are the ones that I just feel the most clear in my head and the most likely to talk to me.
And honestly, that shows through in the dialogue and in the narrative and in the cruel things you do to them. But it does. I mean, it feels, how to describe that? There's a sense when you're reading an author of realizing that the author knows what they're doing. There's a confidence that or trust that you're willing to impart to the author at some point when you're reading their story. It's like, oh, okay, this person is going to take me on a good ride. And I got maybe 2 or 3 chapters in. Obviously I know your work, Kat, so I trust you implicitly as a storyteller, but I could feel that shift, that click in my brain when I realized I was in. I am in the rumor has its seat now. Take me where you will.
Yeah. And man, I flew through that one. I do feel like compared to some of your past work is definitely leaning more into the humor on this one.
It is, and this fantasy novel that I just finished up, which is with beta readers right now, is a humorous fantasy novel. Yeah.
Interesting. Why decide to lean into horror now? Because your first series is really kind of dark.
Well, I don't know. I mean, because like with this fantasy novel, it came about because I have always wanted to do a D&D novel. And I said as much to my agent, and he said, "Why don't you just write a fantasy novel?" Okay.
Oh, hey, there you go. There's an idea.
So this book has a great deal of the D&D flavor to it, and the Sahala, the titular character, is in fact a character that I ran in my friend Yang Wang's D&D campaign a number of years ago, and she is a lizard person necromancer.
Oh, I remember you talking about that on Twitter. Yes.
Oh, jeez.
I love this. I love that character, and I just didn't want to let go of her. And then there's some other, like I have a character from that I'm running in a game now, kind of pops in. I mean, and not in a horrible way. I hate people that like kind of. It would be bad if it was ungraceful, but I just had fun with it. I hope.
Yeah.
Kat, if anybody else came to me and said, "Yeah, I wrote a story about my D&D character," I would be giving them the fisheye hard, but you get a pass. You can go ahead and write a story about your D&D character. Wow.
It's all stuff that didn't happen in the D&D campaign.
Yeah, there you go. And that's I think is the distinction right there, is that you know the character through the interactions in the game, so you understand their motivations, their foibles, and you're an accomplished author, so you can build a story around that template of character. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. And I have she is a ruthlessly pragmatic character, and so I have her teamed up with a bard who keeps pretending to be things that he's not.
A flamboyant ne'er-do-well. Excellent. Well, and I've always said that, necromancers are the most pragmatic of all of the classes, because, they're making sure that everything gets utilized to its fullest extent.
That's right.
Even after it's dead. Yes.
That's sustainable design right there. Sustainable thinking.
There you go. There you go. That's right. Ecologically sound.
So would you categorize this new novel as like a lit RPG or more of like a high fantasy or like?
Oh, it's fantasy for sure. It's not lit RPG, because I've actually been playing around with a novelette that's sort of lit RPG horror, and lit RPG deals more with kind of like the game appears within the book, and like we're in a dating sim, or we've been transported into D&D world. Or, I'm sorry,
Alexa wants to join the conversation.
Oh, Alexa.
Lit RPG. So no, this is not lit RPG at all. But this other thing that I've been playing with is, and that's really fun too. I've been reading a lot of lit RPG stuff.
Okay, interesting.
Kat, I've got a question for you.
All right.
And this kind of goes into the seat from which you write. I've noticed in both the Tabat books and in the Sexy Things series, there is this incredible mosaic of not weirdness, but diversity. You look at the crew of the Thing, and you've got a squid, you've got a bird, you've got all of these different characters and personas, and not just diverse, but radically diverse.
Yeah.
And I think the same could be said of the Tibet books. There was this wonderful, incredible kaleidoscope of characters and races and places and things. Mm-hmm. Is that a I'm not sure what the question is I want to ask, but that seems to be a running theme for you.
I think it is a lot of fun to do ensemble pieces. And I think sometimes, like with the Tibet books, I was working in the tradition that some other writers have, where you have the city as a character as much as anything else. And so within it's a city, you want to have a lot of different people expressing it. And certainly with the space opera, it is very much inspired by Farscape, which is a very diverse.
Yes. Interesting. Very much so.
Interesting.
I can, as soon as you said that, it's like, oh yeah, duh. That's exactly.
Yeah.
Sort of, if Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy went to Farscape, it would be very much in that vibe. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool. Thank you. I've always enjoyed that. I know that I'm going to be treated to a wide spectrum of character expression when I open a Cat Rambo book, and so far I have never been disappointed.
I hope that continues. But I think it is a wide and varied world, and it's nice to express that.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of the reasons why I do enjoy that so much, is because it does seem to affirm a broad spectrum of experience that, you know, we could probably all use a little bit more of in our lives.
Yeah. And there's a couple characters I would like to talk specifically about if we can. Well, specifically, my favorite character is the ship. You sexy thing. Ship.
Yeah.
Man, the ship is so funny. It's just, and for the audience, if you haven't read any of the books, it is just like, it has like utterly no social experience at all, but is super smart and is kind of like stumbling through and doing all these things in like the most awkward and funny way possible at all times.
And utterly committed to having the full experience of emotion and life, everything.
And that's actually one of the funnier aspects of it too, because it'll have an emotion and then it'll like instantly turn on that emotion and then super analyze this emotion, overanalyze this emotion, right? Is this how this is supposed to feel? Is this how this is supposed to feel? Am I feeling sad right now? Well, sad feels like this. Why is it like that? You know?
And certainly none of us can relate to that at all.
No.
Emotions or anything. No.
Oh my God.
It's so funny. Where did You Sexy Thing come from? Like, where did this personality come from for you?
You Sexy Thing is based on a cat that I used to have the fortune to live with. His name was Raven, and he was not the brightest cat in the world, but he had more personality than any other cat. And so when I'm trying to figure out what You Sexy Thing would do, I try to look at it as if if a dim-witted cat had suddenly become super intelligent, maybe.
Lovely.
I shouldn't say I don't know. It has these, well, at one point the captain tells it, look, you need to get a hobby or something because you're annoying everybody. You're right. And then it goes out and it just finds the wildest hobbies.
The most potentially disruptive hobby.
Yes.
Which I love the moment where there's a moment where the captain realizes the ship is playing atmospheric music in the background. And what the f are you doing that for?
Dramatic effect, of course. Stop it.
Yes.
And even the captain acknowledges, actually, it is quite nice. It's very appropriate.
Yes. Yes.
Oh yeah, I love that. And then some of the other parts that I really enjoy are when it's like, because it's not allowed to acknowledge that it's watching everybody all the time because they're living inside of it, right? But it's sitting there like watching them anyway, and then thinking about what they're doing, and also thinking, I'm not allowed to acknowledge that I'm watching them doing this, right?
Yes.
But you also manage to make it funny and like not too creepy, right?
Yeah. It could be quite creepy, and so I try to make it as not creepy as possible.
Yeah.
Well, and you forget. I mean, the story goes on, the narrative goes on, characters do what they do, and then you have the ship come into the narrative saying it had been watching, of course, the entire time, but didn't say anything. And it's like,
Right.
whoa, creepy. Again, creepy.
Yes. I love that.
Lovely timing. Lovely timing.
Oh.
Cat, which of these characters is you?
Oh, see, people have asked me that before, and I think probably, man. Well, okay, actually, it's Jeslie Farron is the closest.
Interesting.
Lovely.
Interesting.
The con woman.
Okay, so if the audience knows, Jeslie Farron is like I don't even know how, kind of like a con artist / wasn't she like a archaeologist too?
Archaeologist. Well, she claims to be an archaeologist. Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she's an archaeologist.
Sure. Yeah, she's an archaeologist. Yeah. Here's the papers to prove it. Yeah. You did.
And I think they pick her up in the second novel, right?
They do pick her up in the second novel.
Okay.
She kind of, well, and that's part of the ship's hobby, is related to how she manages to get on board.
Yes. Well, yeah. Okay. What? How do you pronounce that hobby? Do you know?
Oh God. I said it for the audiobook because they always send you a list of words, and they say please say these for the person who's going to read
so
them.
The narrator can know what to say. Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's a pura cigar is if I'm remembering correctly. I don't have the word here in front of me.
Yeah.
But
That
it's
sounds
something
right.
like that.
That sounds right. I think that echoes with what's in my head.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And this is the hobby of like intentionally creating drama or like setting people up against one another, right?
Yes, and making it an artistic experience, hence the thematic music.
Oh God. Where did you find this?
I made that up.
Totally
really?
made that up.
I wanted to have something that would just be such a pain in the ass. No, I wanted there to be a reason for the ship to do some of the things that it does in the book.
Yeah.
And so you made one up.
I love it. I mean, I legitimately was like reading about this and like, I could definitely see this happening in like, I don't know, 12th century Japan or something where these people have nothing to do but stand around the palace and like torment each other. You know what I mean?
That's it. There might have been something like that. That would be really cool. Yeah. Now I want to write a whole novel about it.
I'm here for that. That would be interesting. Dave, which are your favorite characters? Do you have like one or two that really speak to you?
I always gravitate towards the captain figures, trying to balance the collective, the common good of the crew, the administrative realities of existence, and their own private agenda, and that juggling act inevitably is messy and fraught with peril, emotional and physical. And Nico continues to be a source of delight for me. But Skidoo appeals to the Epicurean, and because there is so much food in the world and in the story. I forget the first mate's not Baylor. Baron? Darren, thank you. Yes.
Dabry.
Dabry was someone that I could lean into and fall back on as he's preparing things and getting ready to head to market. We've got this great farmers market here in Portland every Saturday. And, when I can, I go down there and it's like all the produce and all the things and the market that you described in this one was like, yes, I can see that only times 100. Yes.
Yeah.
So-
I love farmers markets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Clearly that shows up in the narrative as well.
Yeah.
So I love the food. I love the food element that you weave through all of this. That I almost felt like you were talking to me, Kat, and that was lovely.
But what is not to like about food?
Right?
And a great deal of it is based on a meal that I had a number of years ago. I think it was at a Nebula's in Chicago, and it was a restaurant called Linnea, and it was a molecular gastronomy restaurant. So
Yeah.
it was just amazing. So I drew pieces actually from both Devil's Gun. The whole Velcorin cuisine is based on that, and then some of the stuff in this one.
Nice.
No, that's interesting.
Nice.
Interesting.
We gotta get you out here to Portland. Speaking of gastronomical adventures, oh my God!
Well, I'm coming up for Seattle WorldCon next year for sure.
Oh, sweet. Will you make your way down the coast?
I would like to. I'll see.
I'll make it worth your while, culinarily speaking, man.
Fair enough. We'll see.
Nice.
Okay.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah. Dave, you're not going to go to WorldCon out Seattle?
It's in Seattle. I should probably make the scene, right?
You should.
Think so.
If it's going to be like 3 hours away, plus I've got some friends up there, so I might be able to crash cheap.
Yeah.
So yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, God, that would be. I will see so many friends at WorldCon. Wow. Yeah.
That's what I'm really looking forward to, because I haven't been to. Well, I've been to Dragon Con since the pandemic, but WorldCon is going to have even more people there that I know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I need to put that on the calendar. There we go. It's happening.
Okay.
It's happening.
Perfect.
I got to figure out if I can make it out next year. I really want to.
So, Kat, will the story continue? Tell me the story will continue.
For the space opera?
Yes.
Yes, I have 7 more books planned.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Awesome.
But I have to. So my hope is that someone will want. Well, my hope is that the same publisher that took those books will want this new fantasy novel and give me a 3-book deal, and then I'll be like, okay, here's 2 more space operas. But we'll see if that works out or not.
As an added bonus, because you signed me before midnight tonight, you get 2 new science fiction novels.
2 space operas. Yeah.
Sweet.
And I've already started working on the next one, so it'll get written no matter what. I mean, like if nobody picks them up, I'll self-pub them.
So this is really just kind of grinding in your boneyard. Your creative your creative storyteller is just chomping at the bit on this.
Oh yeah. I love binging series, and I love series where the kind of romance builds up book by book, and I want to do that in these books so that by the 10th book, I want everybody on the edge of their seat wondering what's going to happen.
Love it.
So that's my plan.
Excellent.
Wait, so you said you have 7 more plans. So that's a 10 story arc. Okay. 10 novel arc.
10 books altogether. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Is that a decology?
A decagy or something? Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Decology.
That's a lot.
It's,
I mean,
It is
10. I just, like I'm trying to think how many 10-book series have I finished beginning to end. Before we came on here, we were talking about the Wheel of Time. I have finished that beginning to end.
wow.
That might be it.
Respect, dude. Respect.
Wow.
I was going to say, how many 10-book series are there in existence, for crying out loud?
Well, CJ, how many books is CJ Cherry's Foreigners? I mean, she's into like 15 or so by now.
Yep.
Let me think. What's the
I think the Murderbot series is getting up there.
Murderbot.
What? Ender's Game has got like 20 something in it.
Oh, Ender's Game. Yeah.
Wow. Did you feel the temperature drop? It's like that. It was amazing. I gotta put on a jacket.
Well, Orson Scott Card's been such a
Douchebag?
yeah, I'm just not going to say exactly what I think right there. How
Okay.
about we'll be diplomatic?
I'll do it for you.
But no, there's been others. I mean, like how many Conan books were there?
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
but that's
wait,
not a continuing. That's not an arc. That's a collection. That's honestly an anthology more than anything else.
Well,
and that's like multiple authors too, right? We're not just talking. What's his name?
no, Robert E. Howard wrote all the Conan books. Well, I mean, I guess some other people wrote in that universe, but he wrote pretty much
He wrote
all
about
the Conan
12.
books.
I think there's 12 or 15 ascribed to Howard, and then another 20 ascribed to L. Sprague de Camp.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
All the other people that frolicked in the Hyperborean world.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was a very influential. I mean, like a lot big number of people read those when they were. I mean, amazing tales.
One of the few books that I've read twice. The Conan novels.
The Conan novels.
Maybe I need to get back to those. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Howard had a vision and just a way of putting it out there that was just raw and feral, and you felt the grandeur and the ancient power, and and the fact that he was blazing new ground for all intents and purposes is kind of like you're pioneering with somebody when you read those books.
Yeah. And he's such a good writer in terms of like the sentence level. I mean, he really knows what he's doing. There's not a single incoherency or ungraceful thing.
Yeah. Yep. Interesting. Yeah. That reminds me of Elric Melbourne.
Melniboné. Yes.
That's it.
Michael Moorcock.
Sailor on the Seas of Fate.
Oh God, the Black Sword, the Ebony Blade, Mornbringer.
Yeah. That was classic stuff. Yeah. And Andre Norton had a whole bunch of Witch World books.
Oh my God, yes. Yep.
Right.
Yep. And Catherine Kurtz's Camber of Culdee series, blending magic and psionics.
Oh, that was
awesome.
Stuff. The Durini.
Yes, however you pronounce that.
Misty Lackey had a number of series.
Right.
She's got her most recent one, which is kind of all based on fairy tales, is, I think, delightful and really well done.
Yep. Very prolific author.
Yeah.
Charlie Strauss.
And
Go ahead, Kat.
Whoops, sorry. Go ahead. I'll stop just naming writers here.
No, I was going to name one, so it's fine. I was going to say Charlie Strauss's Laundry series is over 10.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know that one.
Oh, you would like that.
Okay.
They're fun.
I love it. I just finished, Nightmare Stacks? Or no, Delirium Brief. Gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I like the titles. I'm in.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's
they're really good.
It's like spy with what do you want to say? Like
Elder
Gods, but then he kind of starts branching out later. It's super fun though. It's awesome.
It is
nice. Okay, I'll put that on the list. I'm delighted that I had cause to invoke Glenn Cook's Garrett novels in a conversation.
Oh, those are so much fun.
Sweet Silver Blues, yes. Sam Spade meets D&D. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
Well, those are based on Nero Wolfe, I believe.
Sure.
If you go and look at it, there are elements that are specifically seem to be callbacks to that.
There's strong noir overtones regardless of their source, but Dashiell Hammett or Mickey Spillane, not so much Mickey Spillane. Mickey was a little more tawdry. But definitely a Dashiell Hammett vibe, and sure, Nero Wolfe, I can see that. Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Anytime you're going to blend some noir into the fantasy, I'm showing up. I'm making that scene.
Yeah.
All this talk of these long series is making me think about how these series evolve as they've moved along. And I'm wondering, Kat, like how How do you feel that your series has evolved now from book 1 to book 3?
Well, I feel like by now you have seen kind of the hint of the character arc for about 2/3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to start hitting the character arc for 2 of them harder, so that becomes a bit more evident. But I mean, that's basically it. That people are like Atlanta, for example, has changed pretty drastically
Oh,
over the
yeah.
course of 3 books.
Yeah.
Talon has changed tremendously.
Yeah.
Poor buddy.
Skidoo has imminent change. Yeah. What?
You said poor buddy. Talking about Talon.
Poor
Yeah.
guy.
Oh, poor Talon. Yeah. Yeah.
Cat, do you feel a kind of a narrative burden? I mean, this is a big cast that you have moving through this story, and all of them have these intricate, deep backstories and arcs that they're moving through. Do you ever feel crowded in the confines of an 80,000 word book or whatever to tell all the story that needs to be told?
Oh, yeah. Because you want to make sure that everybody gets a little bit of time on the stage, that everybody gets at least enough of a chance to assert their presence, that the readers are going to remember who they are and why they should care about them. So yeah, and I do when I'm editing. Rumor has it, I did do a pass where I was like, okay, I'm going to go through and see, like, okay, is there enough Lasite? Okay, now is there enough Geo? Okay, now there's enough, talent.
That's what I wanted to know. Is
I was wondering.
Are you
about that.
actually? Is there a metric of how many pages you've allocated to each
Well,
character?
there's not like a new. I hate people that do like numerical calculations and say
Yeah,
like this
yeah,
number,
yeah.
character stuff. But I mean, just enough that I felt like they'd had enough time on stage.
Okay. Well, and that's your gamer self coming through too. I'd imagine gaming with you, you're very mindful of making sure everybody gets a little mic.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I do. And yeah, yeah. And I like to make sure that the players are leading the narrative as much as possible.
Yes, definitely.
Do you have a plan of how all the arcs are going to fit together long term, or are you just pantsing it on this one?
I'm kind of pantsing it. I guess I can figure that out more.
Wait, now hold on. How do you pants a 10-book series? How does that work?
I have a very rough overall idea of what's happening.
And your brain says this is going to take 10 books to tell this story.
That's it. And I've got,
Okay.
I think I've got a notebook where I jotted down kind of like notes about what each book will involve.
Well, if I would trust anyone to trust their gut as far as how big a story is going to be and how many books it's going to take, it would be you, Cat.
Well, I hope so.
We'll see if my faith is borne out, right?
Okay. We'll see.
Going back to what Dave said, though, I honestly, and I even have a note about this written down over here. I was surprised at how short this novel was, because it was what, 250, 270, somewhere in there.
Yeah. It needed to be a bit longer, I think, and the next one will certainly be a bit more substantial. Part of it was it was writing it during a year that I was having a really kind of up and down stuff going on.
Yeah, that's another question I wanted to ask you too. Like, how do you feel that your life events from the last couple of years, and you don't have to talk about them specifically, but how do you feel that has worked its way into the book?
Boy, I have no idea. This may be why I'm writing more humor now, though, because I certainly feel substantially happier than I did a few years back. I feel kind of much more cheerful and happy on a daily basis, and I'm pretty sure that seeps into the work. It can't help but do so.
Well, and I was thinking, Alan, the questions you asked about the evolution of the story, that was a great question, because as you're taking years of time to tell these stories, the world around you changes.
Yeah.
Certainly life events change you. I'm reminded of reading, was it Stephen Brust's Jureg series?
Oh, I love those. Yeah.
I do too, but I remember that in the middle, it took this abrupt turn. And
yes,
the
because
narrative.
he was undergoing life events. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's something that every reader needs to be aware of. And certainly every writer is subject to those vagaries of fate and destiny as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I think with his books, I kind of feel like they had been to some extent, I don't want to say self-portraits, but kind of like, here's who I would be if I were a kind of cool fantasy themed user, right?
I can see that. Sure. Yeah.
And I have not, I think, written myself in quite the same. But I would, honestly, though, when I was having marital troubles and writing short stories, I know like a lot of my short stories are exactly about that. So,
yeah,
it's
One of the reasons why I asked you about the progression of the novels is, to me, they have seemed to lean more into the humor.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, I think I'm just generally, I am funnier when I'm feeling happy.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I just realized, talking about all the novels that we've talked about in this conversation, there are books and characters that you want to be them. I would love to be Vlad in the Jureg series because he's so cool.
Yeah.
I would love to be Conan, raw, all of that.
Yeah.
Don't take this the wrong way, Cat, but there's nobody in this series that I want to be.
That's funny.
And I don't mean that as a criticism at all.
No,
only that I guess it's an affirmation of that incredible diversity. Oh, I take that back. I can project into Nico.
There you go.
A couple of times now that I think about it, but it's not. There's those books where it's like, oh, that's so cool. I would love to be that, and I don't get that. I don't do that a lot when I'm reading your books. I very much. It's almost more like a collaboration. For me. Yeah, I thought so too. I need to study that more. I'm not sure what that's all about.
Ooh, I'm not either.
It might just be me.
You never know.
I gotta say too, characters that are completely repulsive, like your villain Gnarl, is just my god.
Gnarl Gorson.
Yes.
I love Gnarl. He's so disgustingly wonderful.
He's the worst. He's the worst. And I'm always like, please just die this time. Just please go away. Like, you're so horrible.
He is every person I've had to deal with that is just motivated by hatred.
Oh, Lord.
It gets poured into Gnarl. Nice.
Yep.
It becomes like the lightning rod of intolerance and rage.
There you go. Yep.
Lovely. That's gotta be cathartic for you, Kat, to be able to actually put that in there.
And of course, I don't treat him very well, so yeah.
Yeah.
Well, rightfully so. Rightfully so.
And we're back to therapy. Okay, good.
Well, when you're writing Gnarl, I mean, does it change your mood as a person? Like, do you have to be in the mood to write him, or does it like change how you feel when you're done writing him?
No, I don't think it does, because he's also kind of funny in the amount of sort of anger he holds, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he is in some ways a cartoonish.
There's a caricature quality to him, yeah.
Yeah. So he's fun to write, and he's fun to. One of the lovely things about omniscient point of view is that you get to dip into heads all over the place, and I love playing with his crew's perception of him versus his perception of how he thinks his crew sees him.
Yes.
That is fun. That is fun. I agree with you on that so much.
Well, and it also undercuts the sinister power of the character itself. I found that, seeing how much disdain his crew feels towards him almost makes him less of a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yep. There's obviously something's headed down the pike towards him. What could it be?
Oh my goodness. Stay tuned for the next installment. Yes.
Yeah. That is a good point. He is kind of like the evil comic relief, and then you've got the Tubal, Is that his name?
Tubal.
Tubal, the pirate who's kind of like the actual villain, right? Like lurking in the background.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I've also found it pretty interesting that you've kind of started leading into the whole clones thing too, without giving away too much. In book 2, there's some cloning. Cloning comes up for the first time, I think, right? And then
it's illegal.
Yeah.
It's highly illegal.
And immoral.
And immoral, yes.
And then in 3, it becomes, well, at the end of 2, in all of 3, it becomes a major plot point, right? Well, I guess in 2...
it is a major plot.
And 2 is a major plot point too, but it becomes like an even bigger plot point at the end of 2 in through 3, right?
Yes. And that's been. Sorry, what was the question?
Oh, no, I was going to ask you, like, what is your interest in cloning that this has become a part of your story?
I think that I've always been sort of fascinated about, like, what would it be like to be a clone and to know that you were created for a specific purpose. And in Rebby's case, what is it like to be a clone and know that you were created for a purpose that you don't want to fulfill?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a really interesting question, as well as the fact that we kind of project onto people sometimes. So poor Thorn is just projecting like crazy onto Rebby, trying to make him his lost brother. And Rebby is trying to figure out what it means to be a person.
And leave me the heck alone. Oh my God.
Yeah.
We need to come back and do an episode just talking about clones and cloning in storytelling.
Okay.
I've actually collaborated with a writer friend of mine, James Silverstein, about a story based around a clone theme.
Oh, interesting.
And the notion of memory being a part of the cloning process is very subjective, and how do you transfer thought and experience genetically? But that's a whole different rabbit hole. We don't want to go there right now.
Another episode.
Indeed.
I do want to go back to Sexy Thing one more time, just because I love that character so much. Has he evolved? We've been talking about progression and evolution and all this during this conversation. Has his personality evolved the way that you expected it to?
Yeah, pretty much for the most part. The ship still, one of the joys of pantsing is you get to be surprised by things, and the ship still surprises me on a regular basis.
Yeah.
That whole episode with rolling its eyes just sort of came as I was writing it. It started giggling while I wrote it.
That was hilarious.
Don't ever do that again.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And that was one of those intensely visual scenes that I could see in my mind, all the crew just staring, jaws agape, as these eyes appear, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. That was hilarious. I couldn't have agreed more with the crew on that one. Like, what is happening right now? That's horrific. Please, no, never again. It was just so.
Within the ship being like, I need to know exactly what your order means. Like, how far does that go? How far can I push it?
It was like 5 seconds of body horror in like in a comedy.
Exactly.
Oh, that was funny. Well, okay. Well, we should probably start wrapping up the interview part.
All right.
I guess we should ask you what I'm going to ask both of you. What is bringing you hope right now?
What is bringing me hope? Go ahead, Dave, while I think about this.
Several things continue to bring me hope. Living in the Pacific Northwest, and Cat, you can certainly attest to this, the seasons become a much gentler progression.
Yeah.
And I have found that I really enjoy the transitions from each season to the next around here. I don't, when I was living in Chicago, you kind of dread winter. You know what's coming. It's going to hurt. and you buckle in and you grit your teeth and you get through it. There's no gritting of teeth here in Portland. And I really kind of appreciate that. So as we transition into fall and then moving into winter, I like that affirmation that things are changing and evolving. I continue to take hope from that.
Nice.
And I after watching, I did a rewatch of Arcane, which is of course why I invoked it. And watching that again and the beauty, just the sheer beauty of both the story and the manifestation of it made me think I want to build a role-playing game that works kind of like around this idea. So I've been nattering at the edges of coming up with a diceless gaming system that maybe loosely, possibly is linked to Arcane in some way. Who knows?
Cool. Sounds cool.
But yeah, so that's been a fun little creative endeavor for me as well. That, and there are 150 restaurants in Portland I haven't tried. That gives me hope. That gives me hope.
Well, for me, having just come back from this writing conference and having had a chance to connect with fellow writers and to connect with, particularly with people working on their writing and taking it very seriously, but also having a good time. It was a very kind of supporting, loving atmosphere. And the other thing that gives me hope are my delightful cats who are currently glued to my feet because I was away for 6 days. And so, yeah, shout out to Bruce, Clark, and Baby Bear. So
love it. I love it.
Alan, what's giving you hope, bro?
Oy vey.
That's right. The question gets turned back on the interviewer.
Well, the answer I usually give is our awesome guests who are all super smart and interesting. But I would also say like my kids and my friends and just we've been through a lot the last I don't know what, gosh, it feels like almost 10 years now. The last 10 years have been a bit of a slog in some ways, right? But we're all still here and we're all still doing it, and we're all still, or at least most of us are still moving along and making stuff and doing cool things. So yeah. So I think that
keep on, keep on.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Good answer.
Were you going to ask me if I kept the third cat, Alan?
I was going to ask you if you kept that third cat.
Yes, I kept the third cat.
And his name is Baby Bear, or her name?
His name is Baby Bear.
Okay.
He is a cat of the streets, but he is delighted to now have a posh existence.
Love it.
See, I know nothing about these circumstances, but the question, did Cat keep the cat, is always going to be answered yes. I mean, there's no question in my mind about that.
Well, this little guy had shown up on my front porch, and then I was feeding him, and I thought, okay, I'll get him taken, neutered and gut shots, and then they could keep on living outside. And then there were complicated things where they thought he had feline leukemia, which he does not. So I became so attached to him because they were going to put him down for having feline leukemia, but they were doing it with a test that's wrong one time out of every 3. So he was not.
That's not a great test.
No, what a shitty test, right?
Jeez.
Come on.
Lord.
So yeah, I got him neutered, so that was probably not his favorite thing I've done. But on the other hand, I did save his life. So
yeah.
I guess it evens out.
Yeah.
Fair trade.
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
So we're all. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
No. I was going to make something very inappropriate, so I'm just gonna put that back in the closet. I'll pull it out later and look at it.
What do you both have coming out right now that you would like to tell our audience about? Dave, you'd already mentioned having done an audiobook.
Yes, Cold, Black, and Infinite by Todd Kiesling, available on audible.com. Or if you just prefer to read your stories, head out to Amazon. Todd is an astonishing horror writer, and I highly recommend him.
Awesome. What else do you have coming out that you want people to know about? Or is there anything else?
I got nothing. I have been hermiting. Anybody that knows me knows I've vanished for all intents and purposes from social media of late. And I'm still very much in a process of self-reflection and querying of what I'm doing and what I'm about. So I just kind of, I'm here.
You're there.
I'm here.
You're there. That's good enough.
Good enough.
Exactly.
All right, Kat. So,
well, I just had a book come out, rumor has it, and I just did an on-demand class called Eating Your Words, which is about writing about food. And I'm about to go off to New Mexico for a month in order to be at the Wayward Wormhole. And we are nailing down our 2025 plans. We've now secured all of our instructors, and it will be at an exotic location that I'm not supposed to disclose, but which rhymes with Schmarbados.
So cryptic. I'll need to ponder that. Wow.
You really are a riddle master, Kat. A riddle master.
I know. Well, we have to.
Enigma wrapped in a conundrum.
That's it. We have to go check it out, my business partner and I, in February to see if that's going to work. And we do have an alternate location, but I think that's going to work out really nicely. And I'm very excited about it.
Wonderful.
Oh, cool. Sounds awesome. And you have another Tibet book coming out, correct?
Yes, it is with the developmental editor. I'm very happy because Kevin J. Anderson is editing it again, which, I mean, not again, but he edited others. And I love Kevin as an editor because he marks all the passages with food and writes yum in the margins.
Amazing. And then possibly a standalone fantasy coming out sometime?
Yes, my beta readers I sent it out at the beginning of the month, and November 1st, I'm going to start incorporating that. And I hope to have the rewrite done by the end of November. But I'm very happy with it. I think this is the best thing I've done so far.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy with it.
What is it that gives you that feeling of mastery and accomplishment, Kat?
Well, one of the things that we have been doing with my writing community is we've implemented this thing called the craft book discussion group. And we go through craft books, basically a chapter at a time. And we went through Donald Moss's The Emotional Art of Fiction. And I used the manuscript that I was writing when we were kind of working through all the exercises and analyzing things. And so I think this book has more emotional depth to it than other things. I think I really learned a lot from doing that. Many of the things I do with my writing community are purely selfish, and this was one.
Good.
So I learned a lot from it. Everybody else says they did too, but that doesn't matter. Just me.
Well, hey,
I got mine. I'm good.
I honestly can't critique that at all, being as the whole reason I work on this podcast is to meet cool writers.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and get free books. So, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, I get it.
On.
I get it.
Yeah.
Where can we find you both on the interwebs?
I have a shiny new website at catrambo.com, and it is pretty. And if you go to it, you can sign up for my newsletter and get either a free story or a free class.
Sweet.
Can you say the name of the website again? Because you kind of cut out right as you were saying it.
Oh, sorry. It is Cat Rambo, all one word, .com.
Okay, perfect.
So Kitty Wampus went the way of the dodo?
I still love Kitty Wampus, but my assistant and the web designer convinced me that in terms of search engine optimization, I should have gone with Cat Rambo. And so
there is a strong, compelling marketing argument to be made.
There is, unfortunately, but I do still love the word Kitty Wampus, and we'll try to get it into at least one book before I pass from this earth.
And now every reader of Cat Rambo's work will be scrutinizing every page.
That's it. That's it.
Right.
Where is it? Where's the Kitty Wumpus? Wasn't there was it Hirschfield that used to do cartoons and he'd put the name of his daughter in, Nana or something like that?
Huh. I do
I
not
don't
know. That is an obscure bit of trivia, Kat.
So,
Deeply obscure. I've got butterymanvoice.com. I still do the odd bit of voice work now and again. And you can get samples and my CV and other stuffs up there at butterymanvoice.com. Ding.
So if you love the sound of Dave's voice and you have an audio project, definitely check him out.
There you go.
All right, so we're going to do something a little different this episode since Kat is our guest and we have Dave as our guest co-host. Normally, we kind of stop here and then we come back in and we chat about the conversation and also chat about the books that we're reading. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to stop and then we're going to come back and we're just going to talk about books.
yay!
Books.
All right, we'll be right back. Okay, and we are back. Don't forget, if you like what we're doing, we have a Patreon. You can find us at If This Goes On /Patreon. Check us out there. We also have a Ko-fi account. That's Ko-fi. You can check us out there as well for like one-time donation kind of things. I believe they're also doing Patreon-like monthly donations as well. If you're into that and don't really care about the Patreon stuff. Or, you can just share us with your friends, anybody who is interested in this sort of thing. You can find us anywhere on any podcatcher, on any operating system, everywhere. So just recommend us to your friends, and that would be great.
That's right. If you love something, boost it, either with cash or word or deed. But the things that you love, if you want them to continue, you need to feed them somehow, some way.
That's right.
Yep.
100%. No one could put it better than you, Dave. Absolutely, 100%.
You're so kind.
So now that we're done with that part, what are you all reading right now?
I want to hear what Kat's reading.
Okay, I have 3 books, and one is Keith Rawson's Fever House, which is a horror and is really, really good. I'm like halfway through this. And Mur Lafferty's Station Eternity, which is like a young Jessica Fletcher in space. It's just a woman who kind of accumulates murders, and she keeps telling people, yeah, murders happen around me, and they're all like, yeah, and then they do, and they're like, oh, holy shit.
She's a murder magnet. It's the Murder Magnet books.
And finally, I just ran across this recently. There was a book that I ran into in high school and absolutely loved, and I know there are other deep lovers of this book out there, which was The Silver Medal Lover by Tanith Lee. And I want to tell everyone that loved it, there's a sequel. I just ran into it the other day when I was researching Tanith Lee. So the sequel is called Metallic Love, and it's by Tanith Lee, and it is available electronically and I believe in solid form as well. So hooray for that.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow. I was going to say that's a deep cut, Silver Medal Lover. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
But the fact that there was a sequel, that's cool.
That was a great book. I mean, it really, everything she did was, I think, just so good, just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Dave?
Well, one of the things that has stayed with me from my Roundtable podcast days is this marvelous collection of author friends around whom I orbit. And they are a source of unending stories to be enjoyed and delighted in. And I never read more than one book at a time, but I find myself reading 2 books concurrently. And one of them is Curiosity and the Cat by Martin Traynor.
Okay.
And Martin has, first of all, he's a brash Irishman. And gives 0 F's as far as the world and what it's doing. He's just going to tell his story, which leads to this wonderful fairy tale fae story about a girl named Curiosity, and I'm just getting into it, and he's already laid the foundation for this rich tapestry of fae mystery and mischief. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm about 3/4 of the way through Zigzag Claiborne's Breath, Warmth, and Dream. And I gotta say, I've known Zig. Zig was on the round table. That's how I met him. But he and I very quickly became brothers. And nobody turns a phrase like Zig.
Nice.
And he has crafted this world, this Mother Kamalo universe, storyverse that is, God, it feels like a hug, and at the same time, it feels like champagne. And every time you turn the page, it's a wonder and it's a delight. And I highly recommend both of these books. I'm just enjoying the heck out of both of them, and counting my blessings that I have such gifted storytellers in my orbit, in my sphere.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I have that one over here, Warming Space, on my shelf. I haven't gotten to it yet, but
which one?
Yeah.
Warmth, Breath, and Dream?
Yes, that one. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. You're in for a treat.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Zig is such a unique writer, I think.
Yeah.
You've had him on the show. You know exactly what to expect when Brother Zig is on the potosphere.
Speaking of that, have you read the Alex Jennings book yet?
No.
Oh, you would love this.
Oh, okay.
So good.
All right. Title?
Ballad of Perilous Graves.
Oh my God. I'm in on the title alone.
It is so good. We had him, was it a month ago, Alan?
It was, let's see, it's the October episode, so
yeah.
It'll been a while ago, yeah.
A couple months ago, yeah. Yes, it's fabulous. Really, really fabulous.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's the most Zig-like thing I've ever read.
Ballad of Perilous Graves. I just want to say that over and over again. That's
right.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I love that name. All right, I guess it's my turn, huh? Let's see here.
Your turn, buddy.
Okay. Do I want to start with the controversial one, or do I want to start with the other two?
Start with the other two. We'll wrap up. We'll jump all over you on the controversial one. So save that one for last.
Okay. I am reading Tempest Blades, The Root of Hope by Ricardo Victoria, which our regular listeners will know I have reviewed the first 3 on these. And they're kind of like very anime-esque, very superhero-esque, but they take place in a kind of a sci-fantasy world. And this is the final one in the series. And it kind of just wraps everything up, the ongoing story ties it all together, wraps it up, and it's pretty good so far. I'm honestly I'm 22 pages in, looking at it right now, so just started that one. Very cool series if you grew up with Final Fantasy, I'll say that. Very influenced by Final Fantasy. Also reading just a back copy of fantasy and science fiction, but I read the Peter S. Beagle story in here just the other day, and I absolutely just loved it. It was the Very Nasty Aquarium.
What a great title.
Oh my God, this story is so good. It is just fantastic. Well, it's no wonder he's a grandmaster. And the only thing about Peter Beagle that makes me sad is that not as many people know who he is as they should,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he is an amazing writer.
And that's just gonna, as time goes by, things slip away as new things rise up. So
yeah.
And every time I'm talking to fantasy people, I'm like, "Do you know Peter Beagle? You should read Peter Beagle." Oh, yes. I've never heard of him. Oh, fuck, go read it. Okay, and then the possibly controversial one. Are you ready for this?
Bring it.
Hell House, Richard Matheson.
Oh, why is that controversial?
Yeah, why is that?
Okay. I know. I have brought this up online, and I've heard about it online, and people just being like, "Oh God, Hell House, oh God," and how it could be online.
You have to like Richard Matheson, because I think he's a very definite flavor of a horror, right?
Interesting.
Yep. Are you digging it?
Well, I mean, I'm probably about not quite halfway through. Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it. There's some little bit weird race stuff. There's a little bit of weird misogynistic stuff in there, but written in the 70s, so I guess
Yeah.
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
culturally appropriate for that time. I don't know if I say appropriate, but culturally expected.
No.
Yes.
But all in all, good. I'm liking it so far. All in all,
Good.
Yeah.
Well, and you're cogent and aware of the cultural fabric from which it was wrought,
Right.
and can take those with the enormous lump of salt that they deserve, and enjoy the story for what it is, and never listen to the internet. The internet knows nothing.
Have either of you ever read it?
I have not.
I did a long time ago.
Okay.
I don't remember that much about it, but I do like Matheson, so.
The only part that surprised me, I was not surprised about the misogynism, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the part that surprised me was that the medium, when she goes into the trance, her spirit guide is a Native American, and it's just
oh, that's right. Oh God, yes.
It's cringy, as the kids would say. It's a little cringy.
Which is, I mean, I think if you read Agatha Christie, she does the same thing with mediums, where I guess, that seems to be kind of like a stereotype that they would do.
Yep.
So I was talking to Paul Jessup about that actually, and and he said it was just like a thing that they did, it was a common thing,
right.
like a common idea or a common trope. So
sure. And so many cultures have been cast in that role,
right?
So yeah.
So that's what I'm reading. It's been enjoyable,
Good. You have a broad palate, my friend, and you feed it well.
I try, and you all help me. So thank you for that. So I think that pretty much wraps it up, right?
I think so.
Okay.
For now, until the next time.
This has been delightful. This really was the highlight of my day. I've been kind of frantically scrambling to get everything ready to go to New Mexico, but I was looking forward to this and lived up to all my expectations. So thank you.
Mine as well. Mine as well. Thank you for inviting me back into this lovely virtual studio. I always delight it. And,
thank you very much.
We are keeping hope alive one episode at a time.